We are in the no-fly zone, the back end of the defense, and the back end of our 2016 NFL Draft positional rankings. Kyle Gaffner is here. I'm Adrian Fedque. Going to be a lot of fun because I love talking quarterback. I love talking safeties.
Yeah, me too, man. It's one of my favorite positions out in football. I mean, it's such a skilled position out there. It's one of the hardest to convert to as well, but so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, cornerback becoming more and more important on the defense. So many teams going pass happy now. Only one team in the NFL last year ran the ball more than they threw it. It's a pass happy league. You need to get cornerbacks. And the thing about the cornerback position, it's so hit or miss. And I think a lot of it has to do with the transition from the college game to the pro game, the hardest position to transition from on defense.
It is because, there isn't – I feel like a lot in college they play a lot of zone. Not a lot of them play press schemes. Some do, but that's where you can see where the real talent is. But it is one of the hardest, too. With the backpedaling, you have to have fluid hips. You have to have real talent, man, to mirror these guys because they're running straight forward full speed, and you're basically backtracking everything. So you really got to be on top of your feet to be – in quick feet, too, to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this in prior shows before. In the college game, you play the man, and in the pro game, you play the air between the quarterback and the wide receiver. So it's a little bit different, little different concepts there, and it can be a difficult transition. I mean, we've seen some bad busts, but we've also seen some cornerbacks. You can get these guys later in the rounds. So like guys like Justin Gilbert. Complete bust.
Oh,
Ray Wayne struggled a lot last year. So you just never know.
No, you don't know. And the guy that I'm trying to think of another corner. I mean, look at Richard Sherman was a late pick, 5th round pick that turned into a great cornerback. Samuels that played for the Eagles, a late round pick, 7th round pick, I believe, was a complete stud. So a lot of first round corners, they're not sure things all the time.
Yeah, it's insane how it works like that. And I talked about how it's not easy to transition. Go say that to Marcus Peters. Jesus Christ. His rookie season last year, among the best rookie seasons I've ever seen from a rookie quarterback, absolutely blew my mind.
He was incredible, and I knew he was the most talented guy. I kept telling everybody last year, I'm like, yeah, there's character concerns, but you can coach some of that out of him. If he goes to the right system, I wanted the Eagles to get him so bad, pull the trigger. Instead, they went another direction. They went for that linebacker that nobody even knows his name, John Doe, whatever his name is, a big who what. But, wow, he was incredible. 8 picks, sure would be tackler. Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah. Now, 40 times at the scouting combine, these things already get overrated. But for cornerbacks, I mean, guys who are press guys, physical guys at the line of scrimmage, it really doesn't matter how slow they run.
No, because like you just said, they're big. They want to have big physical guys that go up against the tall physical receivers, and then you want to have your quick, speedy guys to go against the slot position. Some guys are talented enough to cover both, but yeah, the 40 time really doesn't mean that much. And it gets so projected out onto the pedestal as we talked to before. But people are still enamored with guys that can run 4.2s and 4.3s.
Yep. Guys like Trey Waynes who blew the time away. Marcus Peters did not run a good time. He killed it. Richard Sherman did not run a good time. Might be the best cornerback in the league. So that's that, And speaking of slot cornerbacks now, we're seeing these guys. These guys are like starters now.
Mm-hmm. Jason Verrett, for one, I can think. He was a slot corner coming out, and now they put him onto the outside, even though he's a little guy. A couple guys coming out in this year's class that we'll talk about in a minute could be considered slot guys, but I think can start on the outside as well, even though a little bit smaller. They're not the prototypical 6'1", 6'2" big guys that you want in the league nowadays.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, you're seeing some teams running out base defense with nickel cornerbacks. I mean, that's what they do now. It's absolutely insane. So getting on to our rankings, quarterbacks. I think we both have Vernon Hargraves at number one. I mean, he's the no doubt number one. By the way, before you guys say, well, what about Jalen Ramsey? We have him at safety in our rankings, so there you go. But Vernon Hargraves, I love him. Best ball skills of any quarterback in the class. I don't think it's close. He's the guy I wanted at number 8 if the Eagles didn't draft or didn't trade up to number 2. Excellent cover corner. 40 time, wasn't as fast as expected, but again, I don't really care. I don't think it's anything to worry about because when you watch the tape, he plays fast. So playing fast, a little bit different than running in a straight line. Doesn't really matter. Pedal is quick, fluid. I love just, getting to those ball skills again. He high points the football, and I love it. I love watching him. I love him a lot. I see like a Patrick Peterson, Joe Hayden hybrid. The potential is there for him to be a star. I mean, I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a lot. You took the words right out of my mouth with all of them. He high points the ball. I mean, we're always on the same page most of the time. He's a sure tackler for a little guy, which I like to see, which is Joe Hayden like. Same thing. They both went to Florida. Go Gators. The excellent ball skills, quick feet, fluid hips, runs routes almost as good as some of the wide receivers out there. Shuts down one side of the field. Pure shutdown corner. Love the kid's game. He plays fast. I love it. He will be a day one starter right from the get-go.
Yeah. All right, number 2. I'll go with my number 2 because you have a surprise at number 2. My number 2, not really much of a surprise. Mackenzie Alexander of Clemson. Watching him on the field, I don't know who's cockier. You got Alexander, you got Hargraves. I mean, these guys are cocky as hell. But I think he's going to be a pretty good pro, too. I mean, the guy has not given up a touchdown pass in 24 games.
You took my stat.
Yeah, I took your stat. Great athlete, man. Great athlete, quick feet. He's got the body control. I think he's going to be an excellent press corner at the pro level. I like him. And your number 2 is actually my number 3, and this might surprise some people.
Yeah, we kind of flip-flopped here. I like William Jackson out of Houston there. He's a tall, lanky corner, locks up defenders real well. He mirrors wide receivers. He's got great feet, and he's got blazing speed for all those 40 junkies out there. But I like him a lot.
Yeah, 4.37. So he runs fast.
And, injuries kind of hurt him a little bit. I still think that's going to surpass him. I think he'll go a little bit above Alexander McKenzie, but I'll touch on that in a little bit why.
Yeah, as a Temple guy, I watched a lot of the American Athletic Conference, maybe a little bit more than your normal fan, and he's a guy that always caught my eye. Tracks the ball really well, smooth athlete. When he played Temple, I mean, he was unbelievable. We couldn't get any separation against him. So, yeah, that's my number 3. And, your number 3, I believe, is Alexander, and you can bring up your points now.
Yeah, he was an excellent cover corner, another guy that shuts down one side of the field, takes out the offense's best weapon. Nobody has scored on him in 24 games, which is incredible. I only dropped him a little bit lower because he was a redshirt. I think he's a little bit inexperienced. I think he can work on some things. But he's a sure stud. I mean, it's a deep class at cornerback this year. So, you're really pulling at straws who's 2 and 3 at this point, or even 4.
Yeah, I like Alexander a lot. So, and I like William Jackson a lot, but I just like Alexander a little bit more. Number 4 for me, I think we both have the same guy at number 4. I'll let you talk about number 4 since in case you take my shit.
We'll flip it up this time. Maybe I'll say something that you have up in the holster. He's a prototypical size NFL corner, big, lanky guy, tall, lengthy corner. He has the agility and the speed, of course. Potential to be a shutdown corner, but I saw a little bit of flaws throughout the year. He got burnt deep a lot of the times, and he was penalized for it a lot. He's real grabby. So I think if he works on his scheme a little bit, he has the potential to be a number 1. But, yeah. What were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, well, thing for me, there's some serious potential here because he's coming out as a redshirt sophomore. Another excellent athlete, I think, but I'm kind of with you. I'm not as big on him as maybe other people are, but I do think he's a really good athlete. I think he's got quick hips, got a quick turn. I think he's a good player, but I'm not as high on him as the top three.
Yeah, people are in love with him. They have him at like number 2, which I'm really surprised at because I saw a lot of those flaws. But that could be, be some growing pains as being a redshirt sophomore too.
Yeah. So I mean, he's going to be good. I just think the other three are studs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, sure things.
So there you go. All right, number 5. I got Kendall Fuller. There's another Fuller coming into the NFL. His brother Kyle in Chicago, he's better, but I like Fuller a little bit. He's versatile. He can play a bunch of different, techniques. He can play press. He can play off coverage, zone coverage. He's also going to be consistent tackler and run support. Coming off a knee injury, though, so, there's that working for him. I do think he's got to add a little bit of weight, but he's a Fuller. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, he fell out of my top 5 just because of that injury. I had Xavier Howard out of Baylor. He's a big corner, has some coverage skills. He has some impressive cover skills for being such a big guy. I think he'll work best in the press cover scheme, like we were talking before, shut down the bigger physical wide receivers. So he'll fit in the prototypical NFL these days.
Yeah,
purely off his size and his athleticism.
You got any sleepers? Because I got a trio of sleepers.
Yeah, Kendall Fuller was one of mine. You said pretty much everything. He's got good lineage, of course. Almost zero separation between him and the wide receivers. I think he was one of the most pure shutdown corners up there with Hargraves before the injury. It really hurt him. Just like his brother Kyle out of VTech. But I like him a lot too.
All right, number 1. I got a kid named DeAndre Hall of Northern Iowa. Just not that I've seen him play a lot. I mean, obviously he plays in Northern Iowa, but from the Senior Bowl, watching him, I liked him a lot. Had a really, really good week. Reminds me a little bit of Charles Tillman. He's really, really tall, has these huge, long arms. So I'm intrigued by him. Second guy, total homer pick, Tavon Young at Temple. You want to talk? This guy's a little small. He's only 5'9". But if you guys want to see a good tape, turn on Notre Dame. Watch this kid play. I love his ball skills. He can play a little press, off, little zone coverage too. But again, he's only 5'9", so we'll see how he translates to the NFL.
I'm pretty sure he shut down Will Fuller in that game, didn't he?
Oh, he did. Oh yeah. That's why I got to watch the tape. So it's delicious. It's awesome. I had to change my pants like 3 times.
Oh, man, that's a lot of stickiness.
Hey, he makes it sticky. So, and my other player here, I got Kevin Peterson of Oklahoma State. I have no idea where this guy's going to get drafted because it appears that he's got no love at all. But whenever I watch Oklahoma State play, he's always shutting people down. I don't know why he's rated so low. I can't tell you why. He's like projected to go in the 7th round.
Wow.
But, yeah. Turn on the Baylor tape. Watch him shut down Corey Coleman.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that's a name I've never heard of before.
Yeah, he's I don't know. There's just something about him. Every time I watch him play, he's always shutting people down. Held his own against Treadwell for a little bit, even though Treadwell kind of went off on him on the Sugar Bowl. But I think he's solid.
Yeah, I'll have to check out that tape. Artie Burns, too, is another guy to look out for. Small, quick corner, has some shutdown coverage skills. Needs a little bit of work because he gets pushed around a little bit. I'd like to see him put on some weight, but I like Artie Burns coming out of Miami. Maybe like a second-day pick.
Yeah, the thing about Peterson, going back to him, man, like he's not even in the top 15 of most rankings. So he's really down there. So if I hit on him, I will feel really, really smart.
Hey, man, that would be great. There's always love that underdog story.
All right, safeties time. Jalen Ramsey is number 1. Now, this is where it gets interesting because we have a little bit of a different list here at safety. But Jalen Ramsey, I'll let you talk about him first.
Oh, man, I love this guy, dude. He's great leader, incredible athleticism, can jump out of the gym. I think he'll convert better over to a corner. He's got the speed to even shut down some of the slot guys, I think. His athleticism is just freakish. He's got 4.4 speed, another for those 40 junkies out there. Fantastic feet, fluid hips. I think he'd become an elite defender. to shut down one side of the corner or shut down the big time receiving options over there.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another reason why I really love Jalen Ramsey. So Florida State dealt with a bunch of injuries this year. This guy's all over the field. Safety, cornerback, linebacker. He's unbelievable. Freak. He's an absolute freak.
He is.
Oh, my God. He's going to be like Charles Woodson, and that's not by any means an over-exaggeration.
I completely agree. And the conversion from safety to corner for him was like nothing. I hope he plays into his twilight years like him, but Charles Woodson was the funnest players to watch over the past 15 years.
Yeah, yeah. All right, number 2. I'll go first. Von Bell is my number 2. He's a guy that does a bunch of things well. He may not do anything great, but he does a bunch of things well. Reads the quarterback's eyes well from what I've seen. I think he's pretty solid against the run, too. Not a thumper or anything, but just a really solid tackler. I think he's just solid. I don't think there's a bunch of great safeties in this class, but I don't know. I think he's okay.
He stands out. I like Von Bell, but I had Carl Josephs ahead of him. Yeah, he's a smart defender. Maybe I don't know if people saw the tape on this guy, but he reads the quarterback's eyes really well. He possesses really good skills or coverage skills. He's a hard-hitting safety. He can play in the box. He can play center field. He plays big and physical, even though he's not that big of a guy. And quote me on this, I think he might be the next Brian Dawkins coming out of this class. High praise. It's high praise.
That is a bold prediction. I'll give you that.
I think he's got it, man. The kid he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's real tenacious, plays big and physical, but the ACL kind of hurt his draft stock a little bit. But if he comes back from that, this kid, sky's the limit on this kid.
Number 3, Miles Killebrew of Southern Utah. This kid's 6'2", 220. He's like almost a linebacker. So he's got the size, and he's very, very athletic for a guy that big. The thing about him, though, right now he's just an in-the-box kind of safety. He plays like a linebacker, like I kind of just talked about, a lot like Deion Buchanan a little bit in Arizona. So, again, more of an inside-the-box type of safety right now. He's not the best in coverage, but I'm intrigued by him because I think he's so athletic that he can improve in coverage as the years go on. So I think he can learn. So he's an intriguing prospect to me.
I like it. I like Killebrew a lot. I had him a little lower on my standings, but I had Von Bell at 3. Like you said before, he's versatile. He doesn't do anything great. I do like his coverage skills a little bit better than him in the box because he doesn't tackle. I don't like his tackling. He really needs to work on that. He's running out there, sticking his hand out there. I want to see a sure thing tackler. Wrap him up, guy. Don't be doing this shoestring tackles. It's not going to work in the NFL. So I'd like to see him put a little bit of weight, but his ball skills are they're pretty impressive.
Darian Thompson, Boise State, number 4 for me. We just talked about an in-the-box kind of safety like Killebrew. Well, this guy's a ball hawk. So this guy snatched a Mountain West record, 19 interceptions in his career. Great awareness. He's got anticipation. And, he's not bad in the run game. But he's more obviously he's better as playing the pass.
Yeah. I agree. I had him a little lower. I had KJ Dillon, another West Virginia Mountaineer. I think they had quite a setback there for West Virginia this year. He stepped up big when Joseph went down. I think this is where he kind of rose his stock a little bit. He's a solid safety. He flies all over the field. Another big hitting safety. He sniffs out the ball. He just seems to be always making plays when he's on the field. He's a prospect to look for. I think he might even sneak into the first round.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 5 for me, another in-the-box kind of safety, Jeremy Cash of Duke. But he's purely going to be an in-the-box safety because he's not really ever going to be good in coverage. I don't think he will be. But he lays the boom in the run game. This guy's the biggest hitter in the class. It doesn't really matter how hard you hit, but he can hit. But again, like going back to his coverage skills, he's just very stiff. He doesn't have the instincts. I don't know like how that's going to translate. even though I have him in the top 5, I think he's that good of it in the box kind of safety to be in the top 5. But the coverage, the lack of coverage skills do scare me.
And that could hurt, a versatility of a guy could hurt his stock if he's only going to be in there for certain situations against the run, which the league doesn't do that much of anymore. I had Darian Thompson, impressive size, had a buttload of picks. I think he had 7 his sophomore year. I think he had another 6 the year after that. Just incredible abilities, I think. I think he might convert over to a strong safety. The speed's a little bit of a concern for me. It seems like he bites on some stuff sometimes when he shouldn't. He's a little bit stiff when guys are trying to make moves on him. But I like him as a versatile guy. I think he can work on that, though.
Yeah, he'd be higher if he was a little bit more athletically gifted, I think. He's, like you just said, I think he's going to play more strong safety because of that. So going on to sleepers, it's not really a sleeper if you're comparing Carl Joseph to fucking Brian Dawkins. But but that's the guy I had written down. I don't really need to elaborate on him. DeAndre Houston Carson of William and Mary is another kid I saw at the Senior Bowl that stood out just a little bit. So I'm intrigued by him, and we'll see what he can do at the pro level.
2 of my sleepers, you had them in your top 5. It was Jeremy Cash. Like you said before, again, taking my words, bro. But, yeah, he's real stiff in the passing game. He's an in-the-box type of guy. But the dude can tackle, man. He's a tackling machine. Over 3 years of 120 tackles plus, I mean, that's pretty impressive. So I like him. And Killebrew, his athleticism is freakish, but it just seems like he tried to lay out people and lay the lumber way too much. It's just like he's always going for that big hit all the time. It's just like that big play. I want to be on Sports Center. So I like him as an in-the-box safety. That's why I didn't have them in the top 10 because their pass coverage skills weren't as good. But, they could be day 2 guys who play in the field easily.
Yeah, Cash and Killebrew are a lot alike, except Cash I don't think is ever going to be good in coverage. I think Killebrew's got a little bit more potential in that aspect. That's why I have him a little bit higher.
Because of his athleticism, so he can work on the coverage skills. But, yeah, Cash is now – he might even maybe convert over to linebacker.
Yeah, that might happen too. I mean, shit, that's something we talked about yesterday. All these guys, Mark Barron and guys like that, safeties turning into linebackers. Deion Buchanan plays almost like a linebacker. So
yeah,
that's like the trend right now in the NFL.
They're all converting, so they could have a job at another position easily in the NFL if they want to convert.
Yeah, and there's another kid out there that we've had in our linebacker rankings that might actually play safety, Sua Cravens of USC.
Yeah, like True Palomalu did. And a kid that plays for the Panthers that came out last year. Can't think of his name. Do you know what I'm talking about? He played running back at Washington too.
Not ringing a bell. Not ringing a bell. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. His name is like right on the tip of my tongue, but he was a guy that played a lot of linebacker and safety and could even play running back like Miles Jack did last year. So, these guys are just not one skill set anymore. They do multitudes of things, and it's impressive.
Yeah. So that is it. That wraps up our rankings here for the Bitter Birds. But stay tuned because Monday we will be doing a full first-round mock draft. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's probably going to take forever to do.
I can't wait for it, man. It's going to be the best. We get to get our opinions on all 31 teams. That's right. Screw the Patriots. They're out of the first round. Nobody cares what they do anyway. They're cheaters. They're beat.
Oh, man. All right. That's it for Kyle Gaffner. I'm Adrian Fecchio. Hope you guys enjoyed all of our lists. I guess I'll put a link of all the lists there in the description box. So make sure you guys check them all out. I hope you guys enjoyed again. And thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Later.
Peace.